Hey guys, welcome back to Big Loss Official. As you can see today, I have another very special guest, the two-time Arnold Strongman Classic champion, 2023's World's Strongest Man, and another good friend, Mitchell Hooper. How are you, Mitch?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah, bearded Mitch. We have to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, the hairy elephant. I didn't know if I could or not, and that was the initial endeavor to see if it's actually possible.
Yeah.
And I think it is possible. How good it is to be determined, but it's there for now, and we'll see moving forward.
Well, I think it's very fetching. I would like to see you give it a chance, a little bit of a length to it. But yeah.
Well, that's the first call for people to comment. Let us know what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Is it this? Is it mustache? Is it nothing? We'll do crowd vote.
We'll do a crowd vote. We'll do a poll in the community. Oh, but we're not here to talk about your beard. We're here to talk about the Arnolds. And before we get into it, first off, we need to do your Big Loz big introduction. So here we go.
Mitchell Hooper returns to the Arnolds after an incredible 2024 Strongman season. The two-time returning champion has won 9 of the last 10 shows he's competed in and has made the podium at his last 22 competitions. Can he continue this incredible streak into 2025, and can he become the third man behind Big Z and Thor Bjornsson to win this prestigious title 3 years in a row?
It's got to be the target then. Only 2 men have managed 3 in a row.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, I don't see myself in a conversation with people like Thor and Z, probably mostly because I just get there in such a different way. You know, I don't get there by being huge and overly powerful. I get there on athleticism and technique and just getting the most out of myself. So I think it's interesting for people in a different way, but I do think it's freaky in very different ways. And I totally understand when people talk about, you know, a Thor, a Z being well ahead of where I am right now.
Yeah. Well, it's also, they've had such long careers compared to you. So, you know, and one thing that a lot of people like to factor in when they're talking GOAT status is that longevity, isn't it? So we're not there yet. However, you've had a better start than them if you compare the first 2 years of your career to theirs.
Yeah. And I think there's 2 conversations when it comes to greatest of all time. You have most accomplished of all time. Yeah. But then you have, if you took everyone at their best and put them into a show at the same time, how does that turn out? Yeah, I think if it's interesting between me and Thor and Brian and Z and some of the guys from the past, even like a Kazmaier and whatnot. It's a very interesting thing to think if we were all in a show at our best, it was an 8-event Strongest Men on Earth structured show. It would be fun.
Yeah, no, it would be amazing. But alas, we cannot do that. So we just have to focus on the here and now. So the events for this year's Arnold's then 6 events this year instead of 5. Do you like that slight switch up? Do you like having an extra event?
I think it's more fair. Yeah. Personally, I think I've proven that if it's 5 events or 6 events or 8 events or whatever, I'm happy and I can do well. But for those guys who have a weakness, it does feel extraordinarily unfair for a very strong guy to happen to have one event that they can't do well mean that they can't do well in the show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So this year, and I guess it's now traditional Arnold Strongman Classic fashion, they're starting with the elephant bar deadlift. This is an event you're experienced on now. And I don't think it would be unfair to say you're probably one of the best guys when it comes to the strategy in this type of event, the numbers game.
Yeah.
So same strategy as usual, is it?
Yeah, I really like to open heavy. I think that gives you a big advantage. And this, along with the big jerk, which of course we'll talk about later, I think more about what my floor is than what my ceiling is. And if I think my floor is, say, 430 on a bad day on the elephant bar, well, I might as well open up there if I can sort of guarantee that I'm going to get there at any stage. So opening heavy and then having your second lift secure some good points. And my thought with the second lift is how can you put that in a position that we'll call them the second pack of deadlifters are unlikely to reach. And then your third one is something to earn you good points off the back of that. So yeah, my deadlift is in better shape than it's ever been. I had some back issues towards the end of last year. That's been completely rectified, literally 100%. I feel fantastic right now, and I think I've cleaned up some things with my deadlifts that I had to. I'm not going to claim to be on Thor's level when it comes to a raw deadlift off of a bar. I think I get more of this out of a suit than him. But a raw deadlift off of the floor, it's going to be, I don't see a feasible way if I'm healthy that I don't get really good points in that event.
Yeah. And so for those people watching, the advantage of starting really heavy is that you get to choose it and essentially see the other guy's numbers when you're making those second choices. And even if it's just a kilo or two, you can make sure that you're staying ahead of the pack, can't you?
Absolutely. And you can mess with people on the third one where they do, say they put in 452 kilos. You could put in 454 and make them go to 456 just to push them to a place that you don't think they want to be. And like, great, I would love to make someone uncomfortable that way. That's the name of the game. So yeah, it's a huge advantage, and it allows you to decide, do you want to be the one to make the statements, or do you want to be the one who sees someone make a statement and then one up them?
Yeah. So expecting a really nice solid start then on the elephant bar deadlift. Going into event number 2 then, the overhead gauntlet. Now this is the dumbbell into natural stone, and then it's basically into the old Trump log, isn't it, for reps. Split times on the log as well, the Austrian oak. Mm-hmm. You look like you weren't sure.
No, I thought we might have been doing the stone before the dumbbell.
I think the dumbbell's first.
Okay.
I'm sure the dumbbell's first.
Yeah, they're both relatively light. So I mean, it's about 113 kilo, 115 kilo, something like that dumbbell. As a first start, that should be something that everyone sort of knocks out, no problem, as a pre-fatigue type thing. The stone press is lighter than the stone that they had last year. Okay. And so you couple that with the fact that they are more lenient on stone press. And for everyone watching this video, you don't get your head through on a stone. That's not a smart thing to do. That should, again, be somewhat of a formality. And so it's a fatigued log for reps. The one thing I like about it with the Trump logs, I assume they're going to have 2 logs sitting on the stage. Yeah. You don't try and then get to redeem yourself with the light log. You can do it or you can't. So it puts a bit more pressure on that way. I'm sure it's no surprise. I'm not going to play with the light log at all. That doesn't interest me. I'll go straight to the heavy log. And, after a dumbbell press and a stone press, there is some level of fatigue and exhaustion. But I think 2 is the floor for me on the heavy log, and 3 is probably a reasonable ceiling. I've hit 3 on the Austrian oak twice now, the last 2 times I've done it. But both times I haven't been perfectly efficient with my leg drive off the chest. So I think it's just going to be a case of, can I get that perfect on the first crack? And if I can, then 3 is definitely on the cards. 4 is the best we've seen in ever, really. So if someone gets 4, hats off to them. I think the only people in that conversation are probably Trey and Lucas Hatton. I'll probably aim for 3. I think that's a really good mark to hit. And my log has been going really well. I tore my bicep with the Invitational. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. I was grabbing it during that last event. Yeah. Funny that of 5 shows where I didn't have to do the last event to much of a extent was the day that I injured myself doing that exact thing that I was fighting whether I should do or not. So I've had that as a problem only for log cleans and stone pickups. Thankfully, I cleaned the 180 log a couple of times this week. That was totally fine and pain-free. So I think I've dodged a bit of a bullet there. I think that should be a really solid event for me as well. I particularly like the structure when we have deadlift to start and then an overhead second, because you almost like immediately you can separate yourself quicker, because people who are good at deadlifting often aren't as good at overhead pressing. And if you can have a good performance in both of those, then you start to see a little bit better where the scoreboard's shaking out. I think, at this stage of the contest, I'll be up there. Lucas Hatton will be up there. Someone like Austin Andrade could be up there as a sort of a surprise.
Trey Mitchell
definitely will be up there. Yeah. So it's, I really like the structure of the first 2 events.
I like the way you think. I remember the stone press last year. That was one of your controversial ones, wasn't it? It shouldn't have been, though, because I did try and defend you, Mitch. I actually read out the rules. The rules are so ambiguous as well, because it's like, because it's a natural stone, we expect it to be somewhat straight arms locked out, your feet somewhat in line, and that's literally it. That's the standard, isn't it? And we've seen, like, you can see old pictures of Bill Casbar with the Investone for a world record press, and it's like that.
Yeah, I think the 2 guys who hurt the rest of us on this visually are Tom and Mateusz, because their overhead ability is insane.
Yeah. It's crazy.
People will use that as like, that's how the standard is supposed to look.
Yeah.
You're like, look, if I could, I would. That would be great. But that's just, I'm not that guy.
They are anomalies when it comes to that type of mobility. No, definitely. So moving on to event number 3 then, and it's the timber carry, one of my favorites at the Arnolds, and an event that you've done very, very well on. You were just shy last year, weren't you, of Mateusz's, was it 0.1 of a second off the world record?
Allegedly.
Do you think this year the record's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's 2 conversations to be had there. One, is the record possible? And 2, does the record have to be beaten? With this group of guys, I don't believe the record has to be beaten. Max is probably the one with the most pedigree who you'd go like, this guy will have a very, very good time. But if I had to guess, it's probably going to be a second to a second half off of the record, max. Then you have someone like Evan, where if he puts all his pieces together, he could absolutely be someone who could challenge the record. But if I do something similar to what I did last year, then great. The bit that I've internalized is that it's not about how fast I can move, it's about how strong my hands are. Because I've realized that the faster you move, the more sort of jostling that's happening with the frame. So I've done a lot of work on improving my grip strength over the course of the off season. I hit the Thomas Inch dumbbell for the first time ever a couple of days ago. Yeah, with both left and right hand. And as someone who doesn't have overly large or strong hands, it's a good mark of pride. Everything points to me being stronger with the frame this year than last. So I think I'll be able to have a faster time. Regardless, I think if I want to win the show, this is one of the events that I should expect to come first and second at worst.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you talk about Max, but to be fair to him, Thor Bjornsson beat Max's best time when he did it last year. It was literally, again, by like 0.1 of a second or something. But I think it was 8.31 he did it in last year, which is his best time ever.
Yeah, the thing with Thor, and why I don't mention him straight off the bat with it, is because this year he's coming in heavier than last because he has this incentive of the 501 deadlift. He was prepping for a max deadlift that he didn't. The event didn't go through. So being heavier, hands get a little bit fatter, maybe grip isn't as good. You certainly won't be as agile or move as fast, especially if you're going uphill. So I feel like there could be a bit of a challenge for him to move as fast and as well as last year, but in the same breath, I didn't expect him to hold on to the frame as well as he did last year.
That was an incredible performance for him on that event. If you look back at previous years, it was a big improvement.
For sure. So again, one of those things, wrapping up day one, one of those things where the structure is great. We've got an overhead press, we've got a deadlift, and we've got a moving event. And you're going to have a true idea of where people are sitting after day number 1. It's not going to be this strange day 1 is good for these people and day 2 is good for these people. You'll have that to some extent, but I think it's a great way to have day 1 structured.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. So moving on to day 2, then they're starting with the big jerk. And this is an event that I'm really excited to see, particularly you and Lucas Hatton battling it out on. So you've put up 240 so far in training, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how much more do you think is in there? What do you think is possible?
So I worked up to 250 yesterday, and it's amazing when I watch it, when I'm critiquing myself. I didn't hit it, by the way. I had 3 cracks at it, but every time I got it to lockout, no problem. And so it's funny because Lucas has really good technique. So when the bar hits where it should hit, it's really quite easy, for lack of a better word, when it's just stacked in the right position. When you get heavier and heavier weights, you have to throw it in the perfect spot. And if you don't throw it in the perfect spot, you can't fight that kind of weight. No. So the problem that I tend to have is I tend to throw the bar out in front of me. When I do, that's when my elbows are sort of locking, unlocking. When I have it in line with me and behind my head, it's perfect. And so it's not a lockout strength issue. It's not a mobility issue. It's just, where can I throw that? And yesterday I was throwing 250, probably, I would estimate 6 inches higher than I need to be able to lock that weight out. And so if I can groove that bar path well, I think well in excess of 250 is fine. I think 260 is absolutely on the cards. And it's a new movement that I'm improving really quickly. But like I said with the deadlift, I'm more concerned about what's my consistent floor than what's my potential maximum. Yeah. And by show day, I believe that 230 will be an absolute constant. I can hit that on any day that I need to. And I hit 230 as a pretty comfortable warm up yesterday before hitting 250s. And so that's my real goal, is to have 230 as just like the easy, almost like opener style lift, and just get a really good number on the board and improve from there. Because you sort of have to put your balls on the line when it comes to, if you're going to split jerk this weight, well, anyone can miss a split jerk. And so you don't want to waste one at 200 if we're going to get, say, 3 attempts or 4 attempts. You want every one to be something decent, because if you do it well, you're going to hit it. And if you do it poorly, well, you might hit a lightweight that's not going to get you points anyway. So this will definitely be one for me where I have to accept I'm there to win the show. I'm there to hit a big weight. And to do that, I might need my 3 or 4 attempts all to be meaningful. So it's possible I go 230, 245, 255, 260, something like that. But certainly a heavy opener is going to be important. But I'm really excited. It's been fun learning a new movement. I'm really new at the jerk. I'm not very good at it, but just learning a new skill has been awesome.
What a change as well, because you were one of the few guys in this lineup who were at the 2022 World's Strongest Man final, was it? When you had the Flintstone lift in there, and you didn't go behind the neck because you were like, well, I don't know. I mean, you'd never done most of it, to be fair. What did you hit? Can you remember?
I hit 200 and I narrowly missed 213, but that was just push press. And that was because I just didn't have the equipment available to me to be able to have any sort of like blocks to press off or anything. So I was doing behind the neck in prep. And on day one, I think I hit 190 kilos. And then I did that once. When I went to do it again, I went to bring it back down on my neck and I missed my neck, and it fell from overhead straight to the floor, almost ripped my shoulders out. And I thought, well, this is a finals event. So, you know, let's the pipe dream.
Maybe not worry too much. Yeah.
Yeah, but it certainly is. Yeah, it's certainly a great testament to how much I can improve and adapt when given the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. So moving on to event number 2 on day 2 is the trial by timber. This one's probably the one that's the least clear, I think, in terms of what you guys are going to be doing with these logs. We know that there's a long handle on them, and you're somehow going to be carrying them into a sled where you'll then do a drag. So how have you been training this one? What sort of equipment are you using? A normal log?
Yeah, well, I with my bicep, I just don't see a big risk and return to like doing sandbag loading or anything like that. You know, it's whatever you train in preparation, it's going to be something different to where you're loading. So I've focused just on the heavy pull portion of this for the time being. That will change. We're 4 weeks out right now, so it will change in the lead up. We're 4.5 weeks out, sorry. But it will change in the lead up where I will do some more loading and some more conditioning work into that. But for the moment, it's just been like, what does my body angle have to be to get the most from my pulls? And where do my hips have to be in relation to my shoulders to be able to get the most? Because there's a lot of different strategies. And I won't bore the people watching this with the different ways that you can do it. But you could lean down, you could squat down, you could, et cetera, et cetera. And so you have to work up to really heavy weight to start to find out what's best. Yeah. There's this whole range of what's the most efficient if it's a little bit lighter to what's the strongest if it's a little bit heavier and you got to do it in chunks. So it's been a fun one to play with, but this is probably the one criticism I have of the Arnold and event selection. It's the second year out of the last 3 where the second last event is just something obscure where you really don't know where people are going to be.
What was it last year?
Not last year. Last year was fine, but 2 years ago was the Steinentossen. But I'm thinking if there's a couple of us, and the drag, to be fair, the drag is totally fine. I have no issue with the event, but if there's a couple of you in contention for the title and then you lose it on something that you're not really able to anticipate or prepare for, it would be a tough one to swallow, I think. But hopefully we just don't put ourselves in that situation.
Yeah. And I think compared to the Steinentossen, just looking for another excuse to say it, it's probably a better, test of being a great strongman than the stone throw was.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. 100% agree. And it's probably more it would be nice for the athletes, but it's probably better for the fans to keep them interested as long as possible.
Yeah, because we don't get to see a lot of moving at the Arnolds anyway. So I'm excited to see you guys.
Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with the bail tote, why we couldn't have a bit of bail tote action, but carry and drag, I suppose.
You must be the only person, surely, that actually wants that.
I think Lucas wants it as well.
Lucas does. Oh, okay. Another sadist.
Yeah.
I'm sure Evan would probably like it too. He's that way inclined.
Yeah, that would be Evan on a yoke, 600 plus kilos. His forehead would be absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, dum, dum, dum.
Anticipatory slams that would be required.
Oh, I'm like this every time. Bless him. So you guys are finishing on the Atlas stone to shoulder. Again, it's a Trump event, so you've got the choice between the lighter or the heavier stone. No tacky, just those horrible, rubbish tacky towels. Is this something that your bicep has hindered training for?
No, but are you sure we're allowed to use tacky towels? Has that been
I think so.
confirmed? I would assume so.
Yeah, I'm sure it says in the rules tacky towels.
Yeah, this is the number one thing that I haven't been able to train too much. Yeah, I have hit a 180 kilo stone to shoulder with just chalk. I did that in preparation for the Arnold last year. So I know that I have the strength when it can be trained to do that with just chalk. So, it's going to be this is going to be a big week where I'm going to do some heavier stone to shoulder. To give some context, the heaviest I've gone is 125 kilos, which I did late last week. But I did that without chalk, without tacky towels on a stone that was literally wet outside.
Okay.
And so whilst I talk about a bicep injury and I talk about a back injury, the injuries are not a black and white thing. It's injured in that I don't want to go full out with it, but it's not injured in the sense that I think if I had to pick up a 180 stone today with a tacky towel, I think I could do it today. And the goal is just don't take any setbacks from now until the show. Yeah, I'm excited to get stuck into that because that's sort of the one for me that I haven't been able to get into. But again, 4 weeks is a long time. It's a long time to get hurt still. It's a long time you have to stay healthy. And so that's on my mind as much as anything at the moment. Yeah.
And, if last year's anything to go by, I guess the hope is that you won't have to do too much by that point. From a fan's perspective, I would love a little battle at the end, but as a friend, it'd be nice if you didn't have to do too much.
It's a great event for me, and I hope that I can, I hope that I'm in a position that I am safe and comfortable to do it, and however the points shake out, they shake out. Yeah. We've had private conversations about backstage at the Invitational when on paper I had it won the whole time. It's like it's pretty obviously going to be fine. But when you're in the moment, you never feel okay until it's truly 100% okay. Yeah. And so that's sort of my attitude. If I can get myself in a position where the 160 stone to shoulder is all that I need for a rep or a couple of reps or whatever, that would be amazing. But in order to get there, I got to deadlift 1,000, break the timber carry world record, hit the Austrian log for 3, split jerk 250, and have a good result on the timber trial. So I'll worry about that stuff, and then we'll see where we're at.
As it comes, yeah. Absolutely. But let's talk about the rest of this year then. Is it going to look very similar to last year in terms of the competitions that you're planning on doing?
Yeah, it is virtually identical with the exception that the Arnold UK is not happening and Giants Live North America is TBD. Otherwise, I'll do all the shows. I've been very open that my career is not going to be long, but it's going to be full. For me as a person, I'm either totally into something or totally out of it. And for this year, I'm totally into it. That being said, if you're someone who's excited and you want to watch me compete, this year would be a really good time for you to do that. I'll reevaluate every year as it goes. But I still love to train. I still love to compete. And I'm here for the time being. And this year will be a minimum of 7 shows. And we'll see how it goes. A part of that is family related. A part of that is how's my body feeling. And then a part of that is how much do you love and how much are you motivated to continue doing the sport? And that's just it's a month-to-month thing at the moment of, I still love it. Great. Will I love it next month? I'm not sure. But that's exactly what I've been saying from day one, from the moment I arrived at World's Strongest Man. So don't take it as an imminent something's coming, but don't count on me being around forever. So the family side of it, I have a 1-year-old as of 2 weeks from now. And hopefully I can bring them out to some more shows, and that would make my life a lot easier. And I'd really like that. And potentially that's a way that I could extend things out in a meaningful way as well. Fortunately, Ashley my wife is ultimately supportive of whatever I choose to do. and there's zero pressure whatsoever from home of like, you give it up or whatever. But I think it's just as a dad and as a parent, you have these conflicting interests of you need to provide for your family, but you also need to be there for them. And I don't want to not be there for them by providing more than we need.
Yeah, no, totally get it. Yeah. Well, I know you're still serious because you're going to take my family from me in the run up to World's Strongest Man.
Yes, I'll have the most qualified plate loader unloader.
Does he know that's what he's doing there?
It'll be good. Everyone watching this, you've got a few weeks of Mitch and Law's content up to World's Strongest Man, where you'll see into the prep. Maybe we'll make a little documentary out of it. That might be fun.
That would be good. Anyway, shall we get into your quiz?
Yes.
Now, I know we love a quiz. And now, I've made yours, I think, probably a bit more difficult than usual, just because I know you are a statistics guy. You can stay quite close to the numbers, the facts, the stats, and everything like that. So I didn't want you to absolutely breeze it, because I like to see you suffer just a little bit.
Sure. Well, fingers crossed I can do okay here.
I think you're going to do fine. So it is all about you and your career. Okay?
Okay,
It's
good.
not like-
Did it hurt you to do this and indulge me in questions all about me?
No, Mitch, I'm very supportive of you. Not painful at all. No, this has been fine. I'm trying to do it in a way that doesn't sound like I'm brown nosing you, actually. Like, oh, we did all these incredible things. I start writing questions like, what was your shittest event?
I can tell you that.
Okay.
I can tell you that right now. That was the Royal Albert Hall in 2022 when we had the farmers walk distance. Yeah. That'd be the worst performance ever. But
what'd you get? Like maybe 3 points?
Yeah. I came 8th at the bus pull at World's Strongest Man final in 2022, but I'd never done it, so I didn't consider that bad. But the farmers, I think I came 8th out of 10, so I would have got 3 points from memory. So anyway, let's do your questions.
Okay, question number 1. I honestly still think you're going to breeze this. How many international competitions have you competed in so far?
23.
Correct. Okay, question number 2. What percentage of those competitions have you won? I will give you a margin of error of 5%. You do not have the archives open there, do you?
No, it's 61%. I was looking at that for a video the other day. 60.
Come on. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, it's 60.8, but that's within the margin. Okay. Question number 3. Which was the last competition that you placed 3rd at?
Oh, good question.
Yes.
It was the let me just think. No, so for sure it was the 2023 World Tour Finals behind Tom and Matt.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Shame.
What shame. Question number 4. The 2022 World's Strongest Man was your first international competition. How many events did you win in the group stages?
Good question. So we started with loading and I won. Deadlift I won. Yoke I won. Log I tied for second, so I won 3 in the heats.
You did win 3, yeah. Okay. Okay. You're too good at this. All right. Question number 5. This is a good question. Okay. Name an event besides the yoke that you've never been beaten on in competition.
And it's a relatively standard event?
Yeah. Nothing too weird. So I've got one that's a standard event.
Is there a minimum number of times I had to have done it?
You have to have done it more than once. I tested Lars and he was like, squat. I said, he's only squatted once in competition. You can't have that.
I created that was a hinge competition for me. Okay, what have I not lost other than yoke?
Yoke, obviously, when it's a standard yoke run, not part of a medley.
Yeah. I've lost loading races. I've lost log press. Oh.
You've definitely lost Atlas stones.
Fuck you. I don't believe I've ever lost anything that involves an axle.
You've never lost an axle overhead. That's correct. There's others. Would you like to hear them?
Others that I've never been beaten at?
Yeah.
Yeah, hit me with it.
So you've never lost a stone carry like the Dinny Stones, Arnold Stones, and Webster
Oh,
Stones?
true. Yes, I have. No, I have. In 2023 World Tour Finals, I set the world record. Kevin Ferris set it straight after.
Oh, shit. The Nickel Stones. I forgot about the Nickel Stones.
Yeah. But other than my win rate would be really good. Other than that, I'm unbeaten.
Yeah. You've also, according to my now crap list, never lost a carry for distance, sandbag, shield, or stone. So you've done like the Quest Stone in Australia. You've done the Husafel sandbag carry at Rogue, the shield carry at Worlds. I don't believe you've ever lost a carry for distance.
Yeah,
like
you'd
that.
be right. You'd be right. That's cool. So of all of the carries for distance full stop, I've only lost one stone carry. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, unless you throw in a farmer's, because that one at Royal Albert Hall was
That's
for
true.
distance.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's not.
We won't throw it in. That's farmers. Totally different category. It's grip. Okay. Question number 6. Which 2 events did you win at your first Rogue Invitational in 2022?
The Husafel for distance and the yoke log.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Lost didn't get that one right. Can you believe that?
Well,
I quizzed him.
I also, as an event at the Invitational that year, won the best Jenga game of all time.
You did, yes. Most importantly, he posted that recently, didn't he? The very intense final.
Yeah, it's so good. But you know that Rogue Invitational year, I also I came, I think 6th in the arm over arm. I came, I think 8th in the dumbbell. It was really up and down for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You had a horrible first day, actually, didn't you? And then 2 event wins back to back. A really solid performance, and that popped you back onto that podium. Kept the streak and the dream alive.
Yeah, thank God.
I know. Can you imagine? Your archives will be trash. Okay, question number 7. At which competition, I need the year as well, did you announce your wife's pregnancy to thousands of strongman fans?
That was the 2023 Royal Albert Hall Strongman Classic.
Yeah, the Giants Life Strongman Classic.
I couldn't hold it in. I was so excited.
Did she know you were going to do that? Like, I know you joked about it, but did she actually think you'd do it?
She knows me well enough to know that I'd do it.
You're not joking. Because wasn't she like 5 weeks pregnant or something?
No. It was like 10 or 11 or something. It's too early, but when I'm excited about something, you know this. I'll tell you 10 times. And when I was going to propose to Ashley, probably 100 people knew. And I just can't hold it in, but I'm excited.
I remember when you found out you were pregnant, because I think you called Loz and you said, guess what? And I like screamed in the background, Ashley's pregnant. And you were like, yeah. And afterwards I was thinking, God, thank God I'm right, because I knew you guys wanted to start. And
and that you would have known like 20 minutes after I knew. I know.
You literally just found out.
Yeah, it's so important. Yeah,
it's sweet. I like your excitement. It's very endearing.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 8. You lifted the 249 kilo manhood stone for 1 rep at last year's Strongest Man on Earth. Where did that place you in that event?
It was time split as well.
Yeah, it was.
Thor did 2. Austin beat me on time, and I came 3rd.
Yes, you did. Yeah, very good. Oh, you're flying. Okay, question number 9.
Has anyone gone unbroken yet or unbeaten yet?
I don't think anyone's got all of them right yet. No, Thor got 2.5 out of 8. Oh, Nick might have got full marks. I'd have to go back and check. Some people have done harder.
I actually listened to Nick's.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think some of them. No, I think you gave a couple that were like, okay, you shouldn't have given them.
Maybe I was generous.
I definitely missed one.
What one?
Pardon me?
What did you say? Sorry.
Nick definitely got one incorrect. Definitely.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you which one, but We're going to say this is the first attempt at
Okay. And I'll let you two fight about it at the Arnold's. Question number 9. How much did the yoke weigh at the 2022 Arnold UK when you completed the 10-meter course in 5.7 seconds?
That was 500 kilos.
It was. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
That was great.
Mm?
That was great. I enjoyed that.
That was great, to be fair. 5.7.
Yeah. It's not as it was great because I love event wins where I just feel totally fine afterwards. My best yoke performance ever though was definitely Shaw Classic in 2022. That was 11.06 for 20 meters with a 506 yoke.
Yeah,
I think that is probably that was my yoke peak.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've always been really impressed with your yoke into log. The yoke, I mean the log as well, obviously, but at Rogue, you've really blitzed that one.
Yeah, that was good, and it came at such a good time in the comp. And at the time, I hadn't won a major show, so like in terms of performing at major shows, I still had that thing in myself of could I do it well? So yeah, okay, 9 for 9.
Okay, 9 for 9. Final question. Which event did you win in your most recent competition, the Rogue Invitational?
I guess I only won one, I won the yoke escalator.
Yeah, yoke into power stairs. Yeah.
Look at
That was
that.
a cool one to win.
Perfect.
You did it. Oh, I should have known of all the people, it would be you.
You'll send me the crown of neuroticism soon. I can answer those questions about a lot of people, so it's not.
Do you think so? Oh.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Maybe I'll when we're hanging out backstage at the Arnold's, maybe I'll do some quizzes on you just for entertainment purposes. Would you like that?
Sure.
We get a bit bored sometimes, don't we? We need to think of new ways to.
Honestly, I think if you tested me about lifts from say Tom and Thor from competitions over the past 12 months, I'd be able to tell you virtually everything.
Okay. But only recent though, right? You're not a history buff.
No, only if it impacts the current.
Okay, only if it matters to you.
Cool. Yeah, of course.
Oh my God. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Mitch. I've had lots of fun chatting to you. I knew it would be fun. And very excited to see you back at the Arnold's this year in Colorado.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Thanks, everyone.
Be fun. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned, and I will try to get every single athlete from this year's Arnold Strongman and Strongwoman Classic. Take care.